Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Military Mayday. We're pointing out a few pieces on the chessboard. A couple things to point out here. One of these stories is Donald Trump reacts to the U.S. troops killed by Iranian-backed militants. Biden administration discusses slowing some weaponry deliveries to Israel to pressure Netanyahu. Yeah, I bet, with all the TikTok videos and the shit just being turned into a parking lot. I mean, they're not even trying to lie about it. And that just looks really bad, especially when we're arming them. And old Donald Trump is on the campaign rally, so he's got to get his 2 cents worth in. I'm not a big fan of either one of these individuals that are, none of them really. I'd take me as president. Former President Donald Trump expressed his profound sympathies to the families of the U.S. service members killed in an attack by Iran-backed militants Sunday, blaming President Joe Biden for this terrible day. The Pentagon confirmed to Newsweek on Sunday that 3 U.S. military personnel were killed, 25 injured. A close Middle Eastern ally to the United States, President Joe Biden blamed the strike on Iran-backed militants, with officials saying the attack had been launched from Syria. The troops were stationed near the Jordan-Syrian border. This brazen attacks on the United States is yet another horrific and tragic consequence of Joe Biden's weakness and surrender. Trump, who is currently running for the GOP's presidential nomination to gain challenge Biden, wrote a series of Truth Social posts about the attack. He went on to tout his tough stance against Iran as president, saying that this attack would never happen if he was still in the White House. And that's probably true. It probably wouldn't if he was a bit different. He kind of dropped the Moabs and let people know early on, don't fuck around. This terrible day is yet more proof we need an immediate return to peace through strength so that there will be no more chaos, no more destruction, and no more loss of precious American lives. It is sometimes hard to disagree with him, but I still say it's a puppet. Jill and I join the families and friends of our fallen, the American across the country, in grieving the loss of these warriors in this despicable and unholy unjust attack. These service members embodied the very best of our nation, unwavering in their bravery, Biden said in a statement released by the White House after the news broke. Situation has grown in the Middle East, increasingly precarious for the U.S. In the months since the war, the Biden administration strongly supported Israel through the war response. Iran-backed groups targeted U.S. troops in the Middle East. Soldiers killed and service members wounded in an outpost on the border of Jordan-Syria. The outpost attack seems to be attached to the U.S. mission in Syria, which is unauthorized, increasingly foolish, and an invitation to war with Iran, Defense Priority Director Benjamin Friedman said in an email to Newsweek. And it's exactly right. And none of these are constitutional, by the way. Ain't that something? Biden administration discussing slowing some weaponry deliveries to Israel to pressure Netanyahu. The Biden administration discussing weaponry sales. At the direction of the White House, the Pentagon has been reviewing the weaponry Israel has requested that could be used as leverage, says these sources. They said no decision has been made. Sources said Israeli officials continue to ask the administration for more weapons, including large aerial bombs, ammunition, and air defense. After weeks of private administration requests produced fewer results than the White House wants, the source said the U.S. is considering slowing or pausing the deliveries in the hope that doing so will prod the Israelis to take action such as opening humanitarian corridors to provide more aid to the Palestinian civilianry. Yeah, they kind of have to do this because it just looks terrible. There's some of the shit coming out of Israel. The effort comes after the weeks of President Joe Biden's national security team failing to convince Netanyahu and other Israeli officials to dramatically change tactics in Gaza and take more steps to minimize civilian casualties. It marks a potential shift in Biden's approach by going beyond rhetorical pressure, largely behind the scenes, and to making tangible policies changes aimed at Israel to act. After the publication of the story, the spokesperson added, "We have done so since October 7th and will continue to. There has not been change in our policy." Yeah, well, it's a long time. for something to finally happen. I've been quietly working with the Israeli government to get them to reduce significantly get out of Gaza. Biden said, I've been using all that I can to do that. Senior administration officials speaking on the condition of anonymity to talk Kennedy expressed frustration with Israeli officials. There's a lot more that needs to be done. They need to be more careful about. Yeah, really, I mean, it's like, giving all this shit to a bunch of 14-year-old kids or something. I mean, the way some of them are acting, it's nuts. I mean, I'm not a Jew fan. I'm not a Palestinian fan. I say, we need to bomb them all and take it all. Really, it's kind of the way I look at it. But a lot of oil there, a lot of minerals. So anywho, like and subscribe. Toodaloo.